Afternoon and welcome to another episode of the East Rand Podcast Files. Thank you very much for joining us. And as you know by now, this is the home of the Trailblazers. This is where we hang with movers with intent. And today on the show, we have a trailblazer by the name of Tshepo Mmolawa, who is an author and has written a book about Kwa-Thema. Mr. T, welcome to the East Rand Podcast Files and thank you for joining us, my guy.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. How do you feel today? Is this Wakanjani?
So far so good.
So far, so
Yeah,
good.
I feel good.
Dota, you have written a book about Kwa-Thema.
Yeah,
And as I was saying to you earlier on off air, that people hardly write books, let alone people hardly read books.
yeah, that's true.
To begin with, especially like Makasana Mfethu. And I read your book, my brother, and I must say it's very informative. And I even feel like when reading your book, ukuthi ithema ukhuluma ngayo ekugcineni, I feel like ekuqaleni there's history that you relate to us, and it's very important. So before we get to talk about your book, my guy, let's get to know you. Who is Tshepo and where are you from?
Okay, let's start from where I'm from.
All right, it's okay.
Yeah, Tshepo from Ikasi, Kwa-Thema.
All right.
Yeah, extension to born and bred.
Born and
Khona la
bred.
Ikasi, yeah, so yeah, khulela khona la Ikasi.
Ngathi lezi ezithulile nje ezishayela phansi.
Wonke umuntu usho kanjalo, but yeah, thanks for that. Nginjalo. Those who know me better, they know something different.
Khona laba babukela abakwazi.
Yeah, but I still in this. Okay, but nevertheless, about me, I would say I'm a jack of many trades. Yeah, I'm inspired and passionate about many things, and coming to authorship, it's more of loving how to read. Loving reading, and loving reading push you to create something, or as to you become inspired by what you read. Then you want to also make a blueprint towards that, as to inspire other people based on what you learn. However, I've been traveling many provinces, doing some motivational talks to people. So to give something, you must have something, and you must have much and give little. There's one person who once said, when you are at the lower level, you must learn to listen for people or on people who are at the higher level.
Absolutely, yes.
And
Yes.
absorb the information, absorb it, and make sure you are thorough in the
Yes.
information, so that when you get in the publicity, uvuthiwe,
yes.
uyadleka,
Yeah.
you make sense to everyone.
Now, which brings me to my next question, Oguti. Were you into reading books from an early age?
I won't say early age, but I think it's something started 2007.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's where there was an activation as to, this
Yeah.
is the line I have to follow.
All
Or
right,
the
all
stream,
right. On your acknowledgements chapter in your book, you say the following,
yeah.
and I quote: "At a particular point, I found myself in the township of Davidton.
Yeah.
It was around midnight when something came into my mind.
Yes.
A concept, an idea, a vision rested heavily upon my weary shoulders, and I knew from then that indeed it was time to execute what I had been burdened with."
Yes.
Close quote.
Yes.
Let's keep on at Davidton.
By then I concluded my first book, What is Your Purpose on Earth? So on my second book, I had to do some certain researches, because I wanted to utter on something from its roots. So I mentioned people like Nelson Mandela, Ora Tambo, and I was like, these people are infinite. Why not expose my
yes.
origin?
Yes.
So that's where I began to scrutinize about Thema, Job myself, all these
yes.
legends of
Yes.
our township. So thinking of mentioning them in my book, I was like, why not write the book about them? And that's where the activation or the beginning of the history of Kwa-Thema began.
So
yeah.
this was when you had this thought, as you say, when you were in Davidton.
Yeah, I was in
Job
Davidton,
Thabang.
yes, then, yeah. I was in Davidton to another grandpa who is late.
Oh,
May
yeah.
his soul
All
rest
right.
in peace.
May
Yeah,
his soul
he
rest in
also
peace,
gave
yes.
me some advices, motivations, and stuff. Yeah.
Now, you also mentioned many people that were influential in helping you write this book, like Andries Nkabinde and Mrungwa Tsebe, amongst others. Tell us, how did that help shape the direction of this book?
You know, when you are in the jungle, let me not say jungle, in the middle of the sea, you don't know where to go. So any other thing that comes in your eye, you go in contact with.
Okay.
And fortunate that which you go in contact with, it's able to give you help. Rather, I will say they are informed, rather they are familiar with what you are looking for. And I had to go back through the book and say, I'm thankful because of that little spark you gave made a lot. Because one person can give you a name or a word or a sentence, but you have to be creative to make an essay about that. Yes, and develop much about that. So, like the Department of Education, they helped me with their offices, the equipment, the computer, because then I did not have a laptop and a computer, so I was using their facilities. And Babu Mkondo.
So you went to them and you tell them about this vision that you have.
Yes.
And they assisted you.
Yes. However, how I came in contact with them, I was doing motivational talks, so that's how I engaged with them. So this lady was like, hey, I'm Setso, you're doing good, man. You can use our facilities, it's fine. So I was like, okay. So I also pushed my other agendas of art on books and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I was like, yeah.
Now, before we delve deeply into your book, my brother, I would like us to focus on the first few chapters because I feel they contain lots of general history and some important facts.
Yeah.
First, let's talk about the primary and secondary sources.
Yeah.
You know, I come from the school of thought that primary sources are more reliable than the secondary sources. But mangifunda la encwadini yakho uyazidifferentiate and nalendlela uzichaza ngayo, it was new to me. Can you explain to us the difference between a primary source and a secondary source?
Okay. Let's start with the primary source, primarily source, of which it's a dimension on its own.
Yes.
For which you cannot utter certain dimension unless foundation first, or unless at the beginning first, of which there is what we speak about, smart or light information and strong information to what that which, then uttering to a secondary thing, it's more of, now it comes with experience now. Right. It's something that has been backed up with experience and stuff.
So for you, if someone would ask Uguti, how reliable is a secondary source to a primary source, what would you say? Is a secondary source less reliable maybe? Because umuntu ozwe bathi.
Yeah.
Unlike the primary source, umuntu who was there, as you say.
Yeah.
Now,
there are three types of people.
Three types
of people. Someone who watched things happen, someone who heard what happened, and someone who made things happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm quoting from Mice Monroe. Those are the people. So, having mentioned these, now you can tell what is the primary and the secondary source, and in differentiating these kinds of people. Yeah.
All right. I then believe that for the completion of this book, there definitely were sources involved.
Yes.
And so forth. How trustworthy were they?
I will give. It's a tricky question, that one, because of I will give evidence by visuals, that which I have used in the book, because of, if you tell me this and there's a visual of that, then guarantee this is that.
All right.
But for where there is no a visual, it's debatable, because history on its own is divided in two parts. There's visual, which is evidence. There's theory, which is something debatable.
Absolutely.
So when you ask one, what about Kwa-Thema, they will tell you, I born in 1951, some 1952, some Banyege Puma Valley out 1953, so all these things, they puzzle you. Yes, their stories are not the same, so this thing puzzle you as a writer. You were like, oh, but you come to a logic, to a common sense as to, okay, let me shape this thing by designing this in this way. You know, having interviewed people, having said this and that, but you also have to give your best. You have to give your own, your logic. Yeah.
No. Now let's talk about the witting and unwitting testimonies.
Witting.
Witting, yes, and unwitting testimonies. You write about them.
Yeah.
I find them to be of great importance because they reflect the author's views and values or the culture he or she belongs to. Now, my question to you then would be, as an author of this book, how did you balance your views and values with those of the reader, making sure that when you say certain things about certain cultures, other people who have a different view about that won't feel disrespected?
Yeah.
How did you balance that?
Okay.
Because you mentioned that in the book, and I find that to be very important because I read a lot of books as well, and I can tell if the author ufuna ukusifaka engqondweni yakhe, you know, mhlawumbe udisa a certain culture athi work, and then maybe praise a certain one, you know. You mentioned that, and I feel that it's very important. How did you balance that in your book?
Okay, you know, as a person individually, when you read any kind of a book, you can explain what kind of an author this is. Some authors, they manipulate to believe in what they say. Some, they just make you to believe in what they say, and also give you a suggestion as to you can also believe to whatever that you want to believe in. You know, they give you an open platform, which is very imperative. However, then it becomes problematic to become a stereotype kind of a person. So you cannot attack a matter or a scenario. You have to, by all means, come to accommodate everyone so that people may not feel insulted on a certain things. You give your best, you research a lot. Having said that, as a person, you must research a lot. You scrutinize a lot until you come to a conclusion of a matter, so that at the end of the day, you are showing you are not pointing fingers. You know, you are showing you are not discriminating.
And you are inclusive to different people and their views.
Yeah.
When was this book released?
Okay. It's hard to tell this one, but I will do it tell. But it's not easy to tell because of, you know, history. You always have to go back and rectify something, because having thought you are done, comes another information.
All right.
Having thought you're finished, comes another information. You know, having thought you're finished, come another visual. You have to go and approach. But I will say, because of I was busy with the book around 2012, 13, 14, so I will say 15.
All right.
That's where I think I was like, I know I'm cool now.
Now you're gonna.
I had enough now. I had enough because of it was like squeezing a stone until the blood comes out, because of resources are not there. So releasing the book, you are like, okay, it's done. But until I had enough. And that was around 2015.
All right.
I was like, I had
now
enough.
from 2015 till now, how has the public responded to the book?
The views that which I've had in the family of Kwa-Thema and outside, okay, I found most people, more especially in Joburg, they're interested in the book more than the people in Kwa-Thema. And things with which gave me hot calls in my feet were schools, primary schools, when young children were asked to do assignments on the history of Kwa-Thema. Old people, elders are more passionate about the book. They want to see the book, you know, they want to know about the book. Being a self-publisher, it's not easy to make things on your own, you know, and you have to seek sponsors, and in this day and time to get such things, it's no longer easy, you know. You have to do something in order to get that. So, but the response here so far, it's really, really, really good. It's just that I will say it's me who's slowing the process.
Why are you slowing the process?
Being short of resources to push something, because everything needs money, everything, and the format for in which this book has been made is too expensive to print, and to sell again it's gonna be expensive.
But don't worry, the potential sponsors are watching right now.
Yeah, thanks a lot for them. Yeah,
they are watching.
Yeah.
Baklali.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Springs chapter.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter.
Yeah, I also love Springs.
I enjoy the chapter. You mentioned some great famous people that come from Springs, including the likes of Shelley Sutherland, who was a well-known opera singer, Penny Haynes, who is a double Olympic gold medalist winner, and Nadine.
I love that woman.
Gordimer, who is an author and freedom fighter. Tell us more about the Springs chapter.
Let's start on Springs generally on its own.
Absolutely.
Springs was designed to become an entertainment kind of a city or a town, I will say. Many things started in Springs, originate in Springs, many things. We have evidence of companies. Zoo in Springs, zoo. There was supposed to be zoo in Springs.
There was a zoo, or there was supposed to be a zoo?
There was a zoo.
Is it?
But it never developed to a full potential, and it was no more, However, if you can walk around Springs, the site of Springs Mall, you can have a certain clue as to, now I can see, the minings in Springs,
Absolutely.
Carnival City should have been in Springs at the site where there is McDonald's currently. Carnival City was supposed to be there. Yeah, but as due to politics and stuff and whatever rumors is and certain stuff, it never was. But the parks in Springs, they also are in evidence about how Springs was supposed to become, and Springs was supposed to serve the people of Kwa-Thema, Painville, the nearest people. So Springs was designed to become that kind of a complex, that kind of a place for entertainment. Yeah.
Now, tell us about Nadine Gordimer.
The author, author.
Yes.
I enjoyed engaging her stories because of she traveled, and that's another dimension of gaining an information. It's part of a research, and being an author, being exposed to magazine as an editor and stuff. She was exposed even to Nelson Mandela. She managed to edit the speech of Nelson Mandela, and that's a highest dimension.
Absolutely.
Because of this means that she is also a worldwide, kind of a known woman. She originates here in Springs. Penny Haynes, the swimmer, she has a record of medalists. She originates here in Springs, and schooling in Springs Girls High, so Gordimer, she's doing it for me.
No, that's what, when I read her part as well, I was stunned. Because it was new information for me. And it's very rich information.
Very, very
so
rich.
I was very impressed by that. Now tell us about the man that Kwa-Thema was named after, Ubab Richard Selope Thema.
Babu Richard Selope Thema.
The man of the moment.
The man of the moment. Everybody knows Kwa-Thema. But let's start in Soweto. As we come to him, we have school named after him.
Is it in Soweto?
Yes, the school is in Soweto.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we have a school named after Kwa-Thema.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a giant himself on his own. He was a big man himself on his own. He was also involved in the likes of magazine, almost a common denominator.
And I believe he was a politician as well.
Yeah. He had I will say a common denominator with Gordimer because of she also edited magazine. She was a journalist. She was exposed in many things. Participated to become a chairman to the company he was working with. This means that he had a leadership with him, and he had a leadership of developing. He had a vision. He had something. So a man like him, he deserved what is happening here. He deserves what is happening here. So I don't know.
Hence, I say he's the man of the moment.
He is indeed. He is indeed.
Now, relate to us about the forceful relocations of people from Painville to Kwa-Thema in the early 1950s.
Yes. Okay, there are many rumors, but sometimes when you take them, you're like, no, there's no such. There's no such. Okay, before the so-called tornado, strike in Painville, the apartheid people, indeed they wanted black people to move from the white because of Painville was near Beckerton, so there was whites, there were blacks there. So the government then wanted these people to move away. They did not want black people there.
Oh, yes.
It started there. So a wind like a tornado, when it comes, it was used as a reason abantu basuswe ePainville to Kwa-Thema. Can't you know these people were forcibly removed?
Hence, my brother, I mentioned the name forceful relocation.
Yes.
Because now the story mangisizwa, it sounds like no, it was something nice.
Yes.
But you mentioned in the book ukuthi it was a forceful.
It was a forceful. Yes. We did not want these people as bafun labantu and they had to be brought here, and shoot mabasuka lapha, basuswe kabuhlungu because they lost their furniture.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they lost their houses and stuff, and they
most
were
of
given
their belongings.
Yes, most of their belongings were no more. So it's more like they have to restart their life.
Now you were still talking about this vung sase tornado.
Yes. This vung sase tornado was used as a front line. This is not the government who moved these people. This is just the storm. So that ingaveli, as in,
no, wasn't tornado the first township that these people were moved to?
Yes.
It's vung senzakele kahle kahle.
Senzakale ePainville.
Oh.
So not forgetting what happened there. They had to name the section tornado.
Oh, it's vung senzakale ePainville.
Yes.
And then sabai front no ngoba sukani.
Sabai front. Only behind this vung there are people. Who are saying Isugan Lahamban, Then the first houses started in Tornado, started there in Tornado. Those were the first houses.
Yes.
Then Pumulong section came, which actually it's Pumulong. Just it's a Pumulo.
Pumulo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Pumulo.
In full, it's Pumulong.
Yes.
Yes, because of Mabafiga Lana, these people, as township is developing, they found peace and rest, but we came to a rest, so we'll name this Pumulong, says Pumulile, because of Besluisa Lapa. It was an obligation for us to move there to come to Kwa-Thema, so yeah.
And this was in 1950,
Yeah,
or in the early
1950s. Yes, right. 1950s, yeah.
Wow. Now, during that forceful removal of people from Painville to Kwa-Thema, reading from your book, I realized that this was when a lot of unsung heroes emerged. The likes of Mr. Labani Mushabi, Joe Mzamane, Fred Habedi, Madipala, and Kenneth Masekela, to name a few.
Yeah.
Tell us about these chaps.
Kenneth Masekela, he's known, Gakolo.
I believe there's a high school named after him.
There's high school named after him.
Yes.
Masimin in Kwa-Thema.
Yes.
There's primary school named after him in Tafulkop in Limpopo.
In Limpopo, I read in your book.
Yes, I've been to the school.
Is it?
Fortunate, yes.
Kenneth Masekela Primary School.
It's a primary school, I've been there. He was a businessman and he used to sponsor learners in schools. He used to buy uniform for disadvantaged learners. He was a good man. He has shops in Highland. He was selling there, and he was stabbed to death as well.
Is it?
Yeah, he was stabbed to death. However,
do you know where? Maybe was it here or?
I'm told in Highland. It was late. He was about to close his shops, and he was bamgenela khona lapho.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's unfortunate of him.
And tell us about Ubab Semgema. I remember the other day when I was talking to you about him, you corrected me about his surname, and you even mentioned that on the book, because Chinas Maza Ubab Semgema. Yes.
Oh, Bob Semgema, I had a privilege to interview the wife. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Semgema is just a misprint from the Home Affairs, actually.
Okay.
The real surname is Mqina.
Ubab Mqina
Babu
kahle.
Mqina, yes, Babu Mqina. Ke bekuyindoda yakhe izindlu ke le.
Okay.
Beyiphatha imali ke le.
Okay.
Yeah, bekuyindoda esemalini le, yeah. He was involved nakhona to Ejabula. There's a company in Springs.
Oh, Jabula. I think
Yeah.
I'm familiar with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
company.
yeah.
Yes.
Babu Mqina was the first person who hired women in the company because of apparently company beyinabantu besilisa kuphela, and he was the first person to introduce women as well. He was also a manager in the company, you know, Konalai Springs. And after that, ngoba indoda property ke,
Oh,
who was
yes.
building houses,
Yes.
and buy and sell.
Yes.
Yeah. He stayed here and rest in peace.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's late. And not long ago, I'm not good again with recalling years, but in I think 2014 when he sleeps. May his soul rest in peace
May his
as
soul
well.
rest
Yeah,
in peace, for
if
sure.
not mistaken. But yeah, he was indeed also a good person. Yeah, and he also gave good establishment Thema,
Yes.
because some of their houses.
I believe in the Mnisi court he was involved.
Mnisi court was involved. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was involved. Yeah. Abantu ababa involved nakunyanya too.
Oh, yes.
Even the horsemen.
Oh, yeah.
The horsemen. They developed Nyanyatu
Yeah.
as well, yeah, and they divided into extensions.
Oh.
You know, and izinto zaseNyanyatu vele nakhona the old houses, if you can see back then in Nyanyatu, buthola umnyango uba nezenke bese uba umnyango vele we-wood.
Oh,
Wooden wood.
okay.
Shoot
Yes.
umnyango
Oh, yeah. Okay,
if you
yeah.
remember, yeah.
Yes.
So that was the way front abo Semgema ke la.
All right.
Abo Semgema. So coming here kulezi indlu zaseMnisi court.
Yes.
It was a new philosophy now.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a new philosophy.
Now, one thing I battled to shy away from this book are the somber moments I noted. You know, that a lot of people died, especially for us to move around freely from one kasi to the next. And you cannot talk about the history of Kwa-Thema without mentioning, 00 hour.
00 hour, the hand grenade hour. Yeah. And you cannot talk about hand grenade hour without mentioning le boy le Mpimpi.
Oh, yes.
I will remember his name.
I think
just
you
now.
you talk about him on the book as well.
Yes, because of apparently he's the one who sold these late young people, yeah, to the policies.
Yes,
you know.
yes. I remember you mentioned it thoroughly on the book.
Yes.
And what?
It's a story of 1985. That one. Some of the young people bebala Semgema. Endlin Pagati, as the woman was telling, and some of the young people were from Tsakane, Tutuza, Fosloras, like from different castes. So these young people, what happened? They were fighting for peace, and these policies they came, I think they did not manage to get them. And apparently Babatola Ipsugu in the midnight. That is why this is known as 00 hour.
Oh, okay.
Zero hand grenade hour.
Oh, right.
So Mabangena, these policies, obviously, they'll just kick the door harshly and they just barge in. Forcefully, yeah, they just invade actually. So Babatola Balele Panti, La Pagababungema, Babatola Balele Panti, they trapped them, they walked with them to the open space like in the primary school. There's a electric. It's an electric house.
Yes.
There, yeah.
Gula kunelitshe khona elibhalwe 00.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think nalitshe balibhale manje recently. It's not even older than 10 years lila phale litshe. Yeah. So that open space. So these young people, they were given a hand grenade bombs. SA on already. So after a few minutes or seconds, and then it explode kubo.
Oh yes.
So I remember Baba Mkondwana said some of their PCs zomzimba bezla esikolweni in the primary school, some of the pieces like they were scattered.
They were scattered around.
Yeah, they were
I can imagine.
around. Yeah, because of it's a sad story, you know.
Yeah.
It's a sad story, and Baba Ngabela Konalana, you know.
Were they buried Konala?
Yeah, Konala extension 2.
Oh.
Yeah, Konala.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as extension 2 la mathi now.
All right, no, I get you. I was thinking ukuthi ucabanga ukuthi like you were saying on the spot.
No.
So I'm like,
no, Desmond Tutu was there on the burial, bekakhona in the cemetery mabangcwatshwa.
Yes.
Yeah, Bishop Tutu.
Yes.
Yeah, he was also here in Kwa-Thema.
Yes.
And he also returned Babu Tutu in Kwa-Thema ngesikhathi sama-riot.
Yeah.
Which I do, we will go into that. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
He also came up Tutu, but yeah.
Yeah, and one thing as well, one aspect that you can talk about Kwa-Thema that you cannot ignore as well, and I know this is sensitive, you know, to a lot of people abala Kwa-Thema who are even watching now, you know, is Baso and Kosas.
Baso and Kosas.
You know, can you briefly explain to us about that as well?
Baso and Kosas, yole yama-riot, which started early in the 90s now, and yes, even today they are so called Baso and Kosas.
Absolutely, that's why I'm saying that it's very sensitive.
Cool, they just try to adopt things, not knowing where these are coming from. Plus now it's June, it's a youth month. We're approaching a youth day.
Absolutely.
You know, there are people who know what is youth day. There are people who know what is youth month. Tina Sfiga was started into Pezulu. Samariot, it was bad. Baso and Kosas, it was a section fighting another section. You know, Abantu Benkata, the ANC, you know. There were people who were hostile. And so these young people, they were young people from Kwa-Thema High School, which is known as Tlakula today.
Oh, it was Kwa-Thema.
Yes.
All right, yes.
Today it's known as Tlakula High, named after Ubab Tlakula, who was the first principal at Tlakula.
Okay.
Yeah. So these young people were Paso from Kwa-Thema, and then we had other ones, you know. Some students were from Lifa, you know, like it was a mixture. So it was Stella. There was Stella actually. It was known ukuthi kuhlala amaZulu kakhulu, you know, abantu bempi and abantu benkatha and stuff. Yes, abantu bepa. So it happened once upon a time ukuthi, you know, thina singabantu dange sihluphile abantu in bese sifuna ukuyobangenela, you know, sifuna ukuyobangenela sibahlukumeze, you know, then on their respond, abantu base hostela, they responded during the night. So maba responda baya enyanyathu and bangafuni kwazi nix. Bafika lapha, you know, if bayakuthola nje adila nawe nje, you know, forcefully just you'll get beaten and stuff.
Or even killed.
So actually it started ntwana base Tlakula. They mixed up themselves nabantwana base Lifa. They engaged themselves. Abantwana base Tlakula mabayilifa ifa. Abase Lifa babe shocked. Bathe kuyafiwa la in kanti hayi bathi nayo ikhosa seyeza, you know, khosa seyeza, we're going to get beaten kanti hayi no. Abantu abazidlulelayo nje laba, you know. And then bantu base Kwa-Thema, you know, bekunabantu abandlulela ekuqaleni, you know, who they were just passing, you know, as a group, because look at that, but my winning group of people, you know, run away and stuff. So abantu base Lifa vele babe shocked. Can't you know vele base Tlakula khona bazayo vele, they just want to make sure as themselves and bahambe bayo attack hostela. Yes. So mabafike hostela bathola nje ku quiet and stuff. There's nothing they want there. Okay, fine. Same day, it was night now. It was still a say respond again. Then they went to the nearest place, like Nyanyatu. So mabafika nabo lapha bazibhadalise, bavandalize again nabo, bayenza into abafuna ukuyenza again. So kube into ezinjengalezo ke.
Oh yes, yeah, because I remember those days. I was not here, but you know, when I get told about those days, you know, I get told that they were very bloody days.
Yeah, it was very bloody days because of Machola is also the street Machola is also witnessing the death of young people.
Or it happened in Asemachola.
Yeah, because of they were moving around.
Oh,
You know, it
yes.
happened in
So Paso and
Machola.
Kosas I'm a student, kahle kahle.
Yes,
All
it was
right.
students.
Okay.
In Machola, there were dead bodies lying on the street, you know. I remember while I was interviewing, you can get that it's a sad story, you know, whereby we are humble esikolweni or emsebenzini, mele uhambe ujampana
Oh my
ney'dumbu
word, I can
zabantu.
imagine.
So everything has to be put on hold,
Oh,
you
man.
know, like kumiswe yonke into in order to clear the streets and stuff. As due to lezinto zabo pass and cause us. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
It
And
was bad.
I'm glad you mentioned it on the book. You didn't shy away from it. So
Yeah.
that the youth of today, laba bangazi,
Yes,
bazi.
yes, yes. Yeah, they have to know.
Yeah, bazi.
There is to know, you know, in passing. As we said before, there are people who just watch things happen, then they want to adopt. There are people who make things happen. It's nice to engage something from where it originates, so that you understand where you are going and what you are doing going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tshepo. Now, tell us about the meaning of Bulitando Park. You know, when I read that part, man,
That
very,
part,
very emotional part as well. And
hey.
then the park siyayazi, Bulitando. But you know, when I read about it, I was like, I didn't know.
I was still alive when the scenario was happening, and I was on my way to school. It was during rainy, you know, it was a season of rain.
It was raining.
Yeah, it was a season of rain. So I was also going to school, and mangifike esikolweni, and then there was an announcement of these young learners, you know, which happened, you know, like Khaswane Street.
Yes.
It was before Bulitando Park. It was before. There's an open space, Gwaziba Park. I think it's have a hole. It was before Nakona Ikampelwa and stuff. So I will say it's a bridge like what, like a
I think I'm
manzi.
familiar with it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
So
I'm
I think there
familiar
was
with
a heavy rain during the night. Ekseni imvula bese inakahle. It was bese inakahle nje ifataza, but water were much.
Oh, yeah,
There was
yeah.
much water because during the night the rain was so much.
So the water was high.
The water was high.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm not sure what happened, but these two learners, possibly
And we're talking about two little kids.
two little kids. Bazalwe same day labantwana laba, same year, you know.
Yes, even their names.
Yes, even their names and even their death happened, you know, same time. Maybe apparently they were also born at the same time, even if it's the same day, you know. So I think they were trying to cross, you know, the river.
But the water was too high.
The water was too high. So for some reasons they slept, yeah, and then
fell.
then you know water just went with them. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So it was reported to the school. It was reported, I think, even on television, if not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was also reported there. Then
Hence, the government did
the
something
government
about
did
them.
something about them.
And they
Bulitando
created a park.
Yes, named after Ubuli Notando.
Bulitando. Wow.
Yeah, named after them. Yeah.
You know, I think with this chapter, man, with everything we just spoke about, you know, 00 hour, Bulitando, Paso and Kosas, I think it's only fair that we can only say, may their souls rest in peace.
Yeah, indeed,
you know,
indeed, yeah.
to all the tragedies that happened, amanye singawabizanga,
Yes,
amanye
yes.
singawazi,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Now, moving forward, my brother, can you describe to us the importance of the message by Ubab Richard Thema when he says we must re-enhance our pride? Because yes, you are pinda lapha encwadini,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
you know it makes sense to me.
Yes.
Can you emphasize on that?
If I can remind you or many people, Kwa-Thema, man. Kwa-Thema used to have chicken licken.
Okay.
Kwa-Thema used to have KFC. Kwa-Thema used to have a bioscope, cinema.
Yes.
You know, Kwa-Thema, Itabi. The big teams, South Africa,
would play here.
They played here in Kwa-Thema, you know, and Kwa-Thema is a witness of the picking, or let me say, is a witness of the legend who started the so-called Kaiser Chiefs, Morocco Silos, Abo Bushback, you know, Hellenic. So those people, they are from like us. Tlakula ground is a witness of those people, you know. Ellis Park ground, etuduza rank, like BP.
Yes.
It was a soccer field there.
Is it?
It was nicknamed
Lapha
Ellis Park.
Extension 6.
Yeah. It was nicknamed Ellis Park. So these people developed there, you know. We like the legend. Who's this guy? Like forgot this
Is
guy.
it Bab Teenage Dada?
No, not Teenage Lala. He's an artist. Umadipala.
Madipala.
Yeah,
Yes.
Pinchi ka Jonina kele,
Yes.
And he went far with his art painting and stuff, even in Cape Town and stuff. You know, so Kwa-Thema is rich. With legend, it's rich with facilities with which
history
we did not see in other townships. You know, it was the first township, I will say, maybe, which developed or invented many things in which we were like, okay, wow, you know, all these things. Yes, Kwa-Thema is it's a township which did not start with a settlement of shacks and stuff. You know, shacks in Tozama. Kwa-Thema started with houses, Zestina, before Imikuk and stuff. You know, that's Kwa-Thema on its own. So ongoing, these things, they are slowly collapsing. So indeed, we have to re-enhance and bring back and revive all these things to come back. So that if I see a talent in you, we have to recognize it. And we have to celebrate too about it, you know. I ignore, and Kwa-Thema is Kwa-Thema because of all these legends. So we should take from that and run with that as well.
And I was about to ask you, how do you feel about the current state of Kwa-Thema? You know, but with what you are saying, I feel like it's what's happening. And I'm sure people are watching and are listening, and I'm sure they're gonna get this message that indeed we must re-enhance our pride. Now, tell us about some of the books you have written, my brother. How many books do you have?
Let me count. What is your purpose on earth?
Okay.
Where's the truth you're hiding? Thema, the infinite spirit, and Sober as a Judge. Yeah, 5 books.
Sober as a Judge.
Sober as a Judge.
How would you encourage non-readers, especially the young people who are watching now, to pick up a book and read? What would you say to them?
You know, reading, I normally say you don't read to get good education or good degrees and stuff. You know, sometimes to get something that will help you.
But knowledge is power.
Yes, it is power indeed. Yeah, knowledge. Get something that will help you empilweni, and something that can help you through reading. You know, funda page at least, you know, and close the book, then come again, because the sad thing is that to one street you'll find out there's none person reading a book.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's poor. You know, you get other people, they go even to a restaurant just for a tea, then they have the book with them, they are just reading, just getting information.
And they're getting into a zone.
Yes. So without being informed, you are just an empty tin, and there's nothing that you can do that will change. So you have to be informed. Like you know, even you being smart comes through reading something.
And I like it, my brother. You don't read to get higher marks.
No.
But just to empower.
Just to empower yourself. So that you make sense to the audience. Make sense everywhere.
Now, on the last part of the book, you write, and I quote, "Until one discovers what to die for, life is meaningless."
Yeah. That quote comes from Martin Luther King Jr. He said that, you know, unless you have something to die for, then you are not living.
So, and when you ask them this question, what do you mean? Like, so they're just living.
You know some of the things that they are not easy, you know, to engage on. You know, it's difficult out there. It's difficult in such a way that you ask just for not being against, you know, but
yes.
when not being against what I'm about to say, when you ask people who smoke, you know, I'm fit too, like they just answer, I'm fit too, you know, all this. I'm not against that, you know, but this means that you are doing what you are not sure about, you know, like,
and we are continuing
and we are
doing
continuing. Mele ukhona ukuyimela into yakho, and ukuyikhona ukuyimela into yakho kusho ukuthi ungayifela lento yakho, and ukuyifela, it means it's valuable to you, and if it's valuable to you, then this means that it's your purpose for living. Ngizoyifela lento. For an example, thola umama and hlukumeza umntwana, you know, uhlukumeze umama kahle kahle uma uhlukumeza umntwana, you know, because of this thing is precious to her, it's valuable to her. So yeah, into ayiphililayo yiyo le.
How can people buy or access your books?
Okay.
Zitholakala kanjani incwadi zakho?
Okay, the previous books, which is the motivational books,
Okay.
they are already on the bookstores, you know.
Is it?
Yeah, already on the bookstores. Then this one is this one, Kwa-Thema book.
This one,
which is not yet there.
on the bookshelves.
Yes.
On the store shelves, I beg your pardon. Okay.
Yes. Nakona on the store shelf, I have the first one, What's Your Purpose on Earth?
Okay.
And the Infinite Spirit.
Okay.
Only those two, yeah, I can find them at the shop.
Tell us about the Infinite Spirit. It sounds interesting to me.
It's a spiritual book. It's a psychological book.
Okay.
Yeah, like things in which are happening in the non-seen universe. Like a person, before you speak, you have already spoken, you know. Or a building when it gets started.
Oh yes.
Already. It's in third dimensions. There's a vision.
Oh yes.
There's a paperwork. There's a physical structure.
Man.
So we were speaking about those invisible things. Yeah, like it's a spiritual book.
Are you a religious or spiritual person? How do you draw your inspiration?
Okay, I'm a Christian. I will say that, you know.
Okay.
But engaging into spiritual stuff, I do manage to bring a balance to one's belief and the other belief. However, I stand with that I am a Christian, you know, at the end of the day. But I'm not against a certain kind of a belief.
Yes.
You know, we come bring them together, we come them into oneness or conclusion. At the end of the day, we are all equal.
Right. I get you. Now, can you describe yourself in 3 words for us?
Hard worker.
Hard worker?
I'm a hard worker. I work. I don't mind. I work. I work, yeah.
So it's work.
I work. I'm a hard worker.
All day.
I'm a hard worker. I'm not lazy. That's what I know about me. I'm not lazy. Yeah.
Now, any message to the viewers out there who are wondering how they can get in touch with you, get access of your books, or any message to the world, Jay, especially about your book? Talk to the world. Potential sponsors, they are watching. Talk to them.
As we have heard about the book, contain a rich history, contain rich information. What I would love to see going is for the book to develop, to reach 4 corners of the world, or 4 corners of the continent. That will be so nicely through your help, although through your help.
When is the book gonna be on the shelves? Because we tell you go my shelves over much.
Yes, for now it's not on the shelves, but I'm willing to work on it.
You must, bro.
Before end of this year, it has to be, because of I'm drawing from the experience of what I've published before. So it's more like I'll be bouncing back from what I've done before, you know. So it's not gonna be much challenging.
All right, okay.
It's just minor things to engage on. Then
Yeah. Tshepo, my brother, thank you so much for coming through on the show today. And may you continue, daughter, to shine your light to the world. We need more people like you, you know. And I'm sure the people are watching. They're gonna make sure that they get the copy of the book.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother, man.